someone, that they need to show me reciprocal love or anything of the sort. But we are going to get into a bigger conversation today, chat, because there's a lot of shit that happened. If you guys haven't heard the album we played on stream that night, but other people have played since. Hopefully, you played it independently on your own terms. It's gonna be charting well. If you ask me, he's probably gonna do 500 to 600,000. Do record numbers. He's gonna break Michael Jackson's record of the most. Is it number ones or is it like top tens? I can't remember what it is. But he's gonna do phenomenal numbers. Now, before I get into a lot of what I want to get to today, and some of it will address what y'all want me to address, because I know a lot of y'all want me to y'all want me to be upset that he didn't call in. I'm not. But I do have a lot of what I'm saying that will make that make sense. So let me start by saying this. If you ask me, I think I personally believe I'm one of Drake's biggest supporters, period. I think I'm one of his biggest fans, and I mean true fans, someone who's listened to him since 2008 till today. Listen to every project, every freestyle. I've gone back, analyzed. I have multiple playlists of just his music. I grew up on him, which a lot of times people have to realize time and music are usually intertwined, because the 13-year-old now will never know what take care means. But the 16-year-old won't know what take care means. Like when Take Care dropped, there were two. When Take Care dropped, I was in a very, important part of my life where I'm in college and a lot of some of the things he's talking about is applying to me. It's night and day. So I'm going to start all of this off, and we're going to get to some of the Joe Budden stuff. But I do want to start off initially by, let me give you my thoughts on the album so far. I can't rate the album yet. Drake is someone at this point that I it kind of takes me a little bit, I'll be trolling, yeah, it's classic already before I hear it. But on first listen, I can't really tell what it is. You know what I mean? Why? First of all, is this. Drake's last 4 albums, I've had expectation here, and he's went here. For example, CLB, I thought it was going to be he has a heart carved in his head. I'm thinking it's going to be a thematic love album. It wasn't. It's a bunch of songs. A lot of the songs was about, bitches ain't shit, girls want girls, a single player type of move. You get what I mean? So my expectations for the album, when I hear it initially, it has to take me a while to understand that I'm a fan. And not because you hear an album title or you see a track listing, you have to understand that the artists have their own vision. So when I heard CLB, I expected A. He gave me B. By the way, over time, I really like CLB. CLB's a really dope album to me. Okay, so let's get past CLB. So after CLB, we get to Honestly Nevermind. And Honestly Nevermind was a very interesting album and project for me because, I sit up in, I call Drake the greatest rapper of all time. I don't call him the greatest hip-hop artist of all time. I think that's reserved for Kanye West. Kanye West is a trendsetter. Kanye West is a person who's changed the culture. Kanye West, while he might not have the best raps, sonically and musically, he has taken the risks and taken the chances and have altered and veered the entire scope of music. So when I seen Drake do Honestly Nevermind, I said, whoa, okay. This might be his attempt to expand what the palette of what hip-hop is considered to be. Obviously, these days, we see a bunch of people doing, Bronx drill and, it's combined with Jersey Club, which Jersey Club is pretty much a form of house music. So essentially now drill music and house music have some type of synergy and it's creative. So when I see Drake doing something of the sort where he's pretty much rapping on a lot of house music beats, I'm like, yo, this is his attempt to innovate. This is his attempt to shift the status quo of music. I think the album was received very mixed. But I'm gonna be honest with you. I think it did what it needed to do. I hope in his mind, it lasted for a few months. Then people moved on. Then we get a fantastic album. It's called Her Loss. Drake teams up back with 21 Savage, someone who he has a great collaboration history with. They put together a project that seemingly satisfies. And here's the thing with Drake, and I know we're gonna get to the shit y'all want me to speak on. We're gonna get to, but I gotta lay this palette out. This is not a 60-second clip act and we got it. I gotta explain all this shit. So Her Loss was dope to me because I'm like, we still have that nostalgic, slightly lyrical, hit-making Drake. We have it there. It's mixed with that 21 Savage gangsterism shit. The beats and instrumentals are amazing. It worked. It was a perfect fit. It did what it needed to do. For some people who were bummed out by Honestly Nevermind, it took that sour taste out your mouth. Pause. Now, I'm going to be honest with y'all. I was very surprised when Drake said he was dropping another album. Because I'm like, wait, hold on now. CLB came in, I believe, 2021. So we get CLB and Honestly Nevermind. And by the way, it was the end of 2021. And Honestly Nevermind. And then I'm like, damn, we're getting another one before 2024. But he said he was doing an album called For All the Dogs. And this is where, again, I got to give you the explanation before I get into the shit. The reason why I couldn't really give a solid opinion on the first night I listened to it, and even now, it's going to take me probably a couple more days, is because my expectation, once I heard the title, For All the Dogs, in my mind, being a Drake fan who's, you rank my discography of what I got him as, I got Nothing Was the Same, Take Care, but also in that top 5 is going to be If You're Reading This Too Late. I said, oh, this is going to be If You're Reading This Is Too Late Part 2. Oh, it's got to be fire. Now, truth be told, I kind of paused a few times and I said, well, I've never seen Drake release music this quickly. But what is he going to rap about? What's the substance? He's not the guy who raps the rap. How has he lived? He's on tour this entire time, supposedly, when he makes his album. Okay. Then I realized something about Her Loss. Her Loss was Drake realizing this new era of himself. And this new era consists of collaboration with people like Lil Yachty. And I can't really criticize it because it yielded great results. Jumbotron shit popping. From what I heard, that is the brain of Yachty and the brain of Drake that creates that baby. And no matter what you think about Lil Yachty, somehow Drake was able to make the hit. So I said, fuck, I don't get it. I don't know, but this is working. This is working. So this album is about to drop. And Yachty goes on and he speaks about the album and he says a few things. And one of the things he said, this album is going to be a contemporary Drake. Drake's doing some of the best verses he's ever done. But he's current. And that threw me off. I said, Drake, current? I'm like, Drake's always current to me. But I also got to tell you that I'm 30. Okay, I'm in my 30s now. When you first probably listened to me, when I was doing the War in Chirac, how old was I when I was doing the War in Chirac? I was just in my very early 20s. Okay? Might have been like 20. right? Or 21 or whatever. So this is 10 years removed. Now, just give me a little bit because we're going to get to all this. So when I listen to a lot of this album, and I'll tell you where I'm at with analyzing it, I like a bunch of songs, but I'm confused by some of them. Some of them I see as an attempt to attract the crowd that is already dedicated to the people like Lil Tyler, NBA Youngboy, Playboy Cardi, Lil Yachty, and the like of that. And hearing Drake kind of even attempt to go into that realm was confusing. I'll be very honest. So if you watch me listen to the album, I was trying to get it. But this is where I think we're at a fork road. And I think, and I'll get into other things from here. So if I was waiting for the hot takes, this is where it starts. You know, about a year and a half ago, actually about 2 years, to be honest, about 2 years ago, I said something to y'all. I had a very interesting conversation with someone in the industry, and it was right before Drake had dropped CLB. And the person said to me, this big executive in the game, he said, yo, check this out, man. He said, Drake is amazing. And by the way, I think everybody in the game just realizes Drake is the GOAT. And I also have to premise any criticism of Drake is still acknowledging that you could still be criticized even if you're the best there is. And critique and criticism is steel sharpened as steel, and what keeps you on top. It's never hate. I want my favorite rapper to be the best forever. I don't ever want my favorite rapper to be compared to these bum-ass niggas. But a conversation came up, and I remember repeating it to y'all. I said, this person said something very important, but it mattered. It said, this was like 2 years ago. It said, Drake is at a fork in the road. He's already a legend. He's already the best. But he's at a fork in the road. Will the content of his music go this way, where Jay-Z went, and a lot of other artists went, in terms of their content matures and ages with their core audience? People were listening to you 15 years ago. These people 15 years ago maybe were just in high school. These days, they have whole families. What they were doing in 15 years ago, their life is completely different. So is his. Yo, Drake got a whole kid right now. That nigga look like he about to dunk. Salute to Adonis. But that was one path. The other path was chase the relevance of the youth. Because hip-hop is still kind of primarily dictated by in with the new, out with the old. Sexy Red's a new thing right now. Everybody loves Sexy Red. People forget that like 3-4 years ago, that the same wave for Sexy Red people had for the City Girls. But then people got tired of it and moved on. Now, the person said something to me that was really important, and I actually believed it, and I still believe it to this day. He said, here's the thing is, Drake is amazing. He could do anything he wants. But if he goes down that other route of trying to appease or attract or entertain new audiences that might not be the audience that supported the majority of his career, they said to me, a 17-year-old right now will never love Drake more than they love NBA Youngboy. They'll never love Drake more than they love a Playboy Cardi or a Lil Tyler or anybody else, because unfortunately, that's their demo. So while he could always be in that conversation, the way how I talk about Drake, and I know a lot of y'all be like, you be glazing, you a stan. The way how I talk about Drake, the way how some of y'all talk about Drake, the passion, how much his music has meant for you in your life, how impactful it is, how much you care. That new person who's just trying to hear him with Yeet, they probably won't have that type of care. So let me keep going. I see a lot of y'all that message me, and y'all want me to be offended. Say, yo, well, oh, my dogs are coming out here. Oh, my God. Jesus. Oh, come on. Hold on. Let me get them out of here. Hold up. The boys. Come on. Come on. Come on. I apologize for that. No, they love me. Okay. But back to what I was saying. I seen a lot of y'all message me. I was saying, yo, you streamed for 16 hours. Drake told you he was going to call in. He ain't never called you. He called Cenat. By the way, at the time, I didn't know. Some people said, I really didn't know who he called. I didn't know what he was doing. Also, I was super tired as well. That's a long-ass stream. But I see a lot of y'all want me to take offense to it. But I haven't, and I don't. I don't take offense to it. I'm going to tell you why. I do believe that I have a vision of where I think Drake is at. And this is not coming from, again, I don't know Drake that well. We've spoken a bunch of times, via text or on the phone. But it's not like we're best buddies. But I'm a bigger fan more than anything. So what I'm telling you, I'm speaking more as a fan than someone who feels I'm an entitled industry head. That's the entitlement if I'm nah, nigga, why you ain't call me? Nah, I'm good. But I'm speaking more as a fan because this guy, I'm one of them niggas, you could tell, I go to war for him. And I use his resume and I use his music and I compare it to the best. It's a reason why I said my top 5 is only Drake. You know what I said. This is how passionate I am about the music when it comes to him. I'm a fan. And if you want to call it stan, it is what it is. Him calling Kai, first of all, I love Kai. It crystallized where I think Drake is at. Remember that fork in the road? If you needed more conversation to know which route he took, this album, his moves, has told you. I told you what those two choices were. But we could start off with one thing, and we'll even mention Kai. And salute to Kai, by the way. Kai, you know I love you. And yeah. Drake's relationship with media has changed. It's changed a lot. I'm going to be honest with you. I was pretty surprised that Drake went that hard at Joe today. But I'm not going to lie. I was kind of surprised that Drake went that hard at Elliott Wilson when he did. Actually, I was also surprised that he went at Charlemagne as much. Because I don't think any of those guys' comments was lathered in hate. I could tell you what all of them said. Elliott Wilson, even though, granted, I agree with Drake and him saying this or him feeling like this, Elliott Wilson should be appreciated. If you've done mad interviews with Drake, many people haven't. You should understand. But that is a conversation we've all had. Well, why why does it look like Drake seems to be staying away from hip hop media? It's not like he's staying away from media, period. He's staying away from hip hop media. That's a legit question. He didn't like it when Elliott Wilson brought that up. He took it out on him when Elliott Wilson, which, by the way, it was a funny joke too. Like, Elliott Wilson at Rolling Loud, I get it. But Charlemagne, even though I disagree with Charlemagne, by the way, most of these things I agree more with Drake, but I've never seen Drake act like this towards especially people who disagree with him. Charlemagne said that song came and went. Numbers wise, clearly didn't come and go. But could we have a conversation that, those two heavyweights and titans, SZA, Drake, the impact we would have expected? Like, remember when Drake and Rihanna dropped Work? That was impact, right? This song wasn't that. Was it number one? Yeah, it probably was, but wasn't that. So I understand what Charlemagne was saying, even if he was incorrect in certain type of metrics. He went at Charlemagne. I said, damn. Now, I listened to that Joe Budden podcast today, and I'm going to play some of it for you. And I'm going to be honest with you. Got to be honest. I thought it was fair. I hold Drake to a standard that is unrealistic for your favorite artist because your favorite artist ain't the best. Drake dropping a acceptable project sounds like, imagine if you're watching who you think is Michael Jordan's prime, you're like, yeah, Michael went to the playoffs in the 4th seed and he got bounced out in the 2nd round. It's not bad. Nothing to really talk about. So I hold Drake to a really super unrealistic standard because I've called him the GOAT. I don't say is he going to be good or is he no. I call him the GOAT. And that means something. So I listened to what Joe Budden had to say today, and I thought it was fair. I'm sorry. Now, I do think he got personal a bit. And me trying to understand where Drake's coming from, I think Drake responding to Joe was because Joe tried to shame Drake on some age shit, saying, hey, stop messing with 25-year-olds. Yo, hang with people. Again, age shaming in hip-hop, especially when, I think Joe's also a bad messenger. I don't think Joe has ever dated a girl, over 25, at least initially when he gets with them. So, completely. But, listen to the critique of the album. I kind of agreed. Remember that fork in the road? I'm going to keep coming back to it. The reason why I didn't feel any way about Drake not calling me, even though he probably was going to call, like, Drake's cool. Like, he's like, I know y'all think he's like some weird, he's not a weird dude, bro. Like, he's a genuine dude. He's not weird. But the reason why I didn't feel any type of way, I do believe solemnly that Drake made this album in mind to capture the minds and hearts or to impress the people that would exactly be Kai Cenat's audience. It's not about Kai Cenat. It's about the demo that his audience represents. By the way, I think Drake has been there for a while. I think that's the reason why Drake doesn't mind these days. Like, if he had issues with Joe, he would cleverly diss him on a song. Yo, he's just dissing that nigga on the gram now. Violating that nigga. I think Drake, where he's at mentally, and what he is believing is important, is not the Joe Buddens, the Charlemagnes, the Elliott Wilsons of the world. You hear him shout out the streamers. It's more of the youth. And there's going to be people like me. And, I talked to Elliott Wilson kind of behind the scenes. And I'll bring this on the record. Even though this was before he did off the record. Check that out. Anyway. I said to Elliott, I said, damn. I said, yo, Drake violated you. But you know what I said to him? I said, you know what? Low key, I kind of said a few of the similar things you said. I said, you must have did some other shit because Drake just violated you. But that's where I think I fit like in the middle ground. Not only am I a supremely huge fan of his music, if you ask me, I think Drake has moved on from what some of y'all might think is the traditional views or traditional outlets or traditional gatekeepers of conversation in music. He's more now focused on the youth and the now. I think rather than care about the opinion of a Joe Budden, he would care about the opinion of a Cenat. You get what I mean? And I think when I was thinking about all these things, because, I'm kind of on both sides a lot of times because I fuck with him so heavy. I understand and I like his music a lot, but then I'm like, damn. Like, I was listening to, like, a couple of these songs. I'm like, yo, I hear Drake doing, the flow of the nigga who's, like, the new rapper who's trying to get in with the TikTok niggas. And I'm like, damn, Drake's doing that. You know what I mean? Like, this is the first time ever I've ever cognizantly realized that Drake was trying to do something that maybe wasn't native to him. Like, when he did the dancehall shit, bro, that shit sounded amazing. Like, you listen to Control and be like, oh, this is a guy. No, it sounded natural. When he does the UK shit, sounds natural. When he did the West Coast shit, sounds natural. When he goes on some gangster shit, sounds natural. When he did a couple of these songs, I was like, I felt like I was hearing someone trying to imitate. And that's where I was like stuck in the middle. Because I'm one of those people who, he shouted on the album, streamers. But also I'm at like that perfect medium where, bro, I sat here for 7 hours. Actually, more than 7 hours, damn near 12 hours. And I played hit on hit on hit, song after song. I recapped 15 years of his career. So I'm as old school when it comes to Drake as you could get as well. And I think that's where the entire conversation's at. Do you get what I mean? And I'm hoping y'all understand because I'm speaking very truthfully. This album is not garbage. Matter of fact, there's a lot of shit on it. And we're going to spend so much time, not only today, but even subsequent days, in breaking this shit down. But I think it's important that we understand that even before I get into some of the stuff with Joe and him, I think Drake has picked his side in the fork in the road. Do you get what I mean? Now, here's the important thing, and I'm going to go back to that conversation I told you I had with that individual. Remember what they said? You know when I was talking to Kai, and Kai said, who's your favorite rapper? And I said, I thought it was a blasphemous question. He said, who is your favorite rapper? I'm like, what the fuck? Like, I didn't even understand what he was saying. Like, I'm like, is this a thing? I was like, Drake, my nigga, like, what the fuck? Like, yo, he's made music for like 15 years of my fucking life. Like, this guy's the greatest. And then I asked him the same question, and I ain't gonna lie, I almost fainted. I said, who's your favorite rapper? He said, A Boogie. And I'm like, what? Now, granted, I love Boogie, and, I fuck with Boogie's whole team. But that was the difference between our demographic and this generation. Kai is 10 years younger than me. Kai from New York. Kai was more probably closer to watching A Boogie come up than watching Drake come up. So remember that, again, the fork in the road conversation. You know what the person said? When you try to appease the youth, they'll never love you more than those other people they actually grew up on. Yeah, Kai could react to the album all he wants. Yo, this shit's hot, fire, oh my God. Who's his favorite? It's A Boogie, it's not Drake. That always is going to be the backdrop. So again, I had to lay it there. If I'll give you some quick thoughts on the project before we really get into the Joe Budden stuff. sometimes y'all feel like I'm programming myself by listening to this a million times. No, because I miss a lot. Like, yo, on Fear of Heights, like, yo, that's actually a really good record that when I was listening to it after being on stream for like 15 hours, so much shit flew over my head. Yo, he went crazy on a couple of them. Now, there's certain songs I'll tell you even now I still don't fuck with. Like, for example, I have no idea how he him and Bad Bunny made that song, but I thought him and Bad Bunny was gonna make an absolute smash. And that song sounded like it was a song idea by Drake sent to Bad Bunny because shit, Bad Bunny all he has is slappers. And once I heard Drake kind of doing the struggle Spanish, I was like, this is kind of odd. So I still don't like that song. The Sexy Red and Scissor song actually I rock with that song a little bit. And Another Late Night, I rock with that too. I'm gonna be honest with you, there's a few songs in here that I'm a little disappointed when it came to like the flow he took. I don't like that super new contemporary flow where I feel like, oh, this is a flow that I could hear Yeet doing. Because at that point it's just like, bro, I'm listening to Drake for Drake. I'm not listening to Drake to hear Drake in Yeet's body or Yachty's body. You get what I mean? With all due respect to them. Also, off top, and this is still my opinion currently, First Person Shooter. I was disappointed in that track. I'm going to be honest with you. Very disappointed. You know how much I be talking shit. And I've told Drake this too. Nigga, you my favorite. Like, it's like when niggas like LeBron, you're hoping LeBron plays good that you could keep talking shit and use him as your proof. I talk shit about Drake or talk shit using Drake as my proof because he's my player, right? And when it comes to him and J. Cole, I usually shit on J. Cole. And that track humbled the fuck out of me. That track humbled the fuck out of me. And for a second, it made me think if potentially Drake was lyrically out of shape because he was rapping either with subpar competition or because he's been doing these new, I don't want to say melodies, but these new contemporary flows. Y'all remember when I was listening to it live, right? And we heard Cole go, and I said, "Yo, Drake finna body this nigga."